University's fifth-year master's program in nonprofit administration. In addition to serving as the campus editor for John Carroll's student newspaper, the Carroll News, he interned at Live Nation Entertainment, Big Machine Label Group in Nashville. He's done freelance marketing with musicians Andy Grammer and Rachel Platten and made YouTube videos. He's also written 3 young adult mystery novels, Revenge 101, Hometown Heroes, and The Show Goes On, a series focusing on online media and the negative impacts one tweet, post, and YouTube video can have. Anthony will be reading his short story, The Underground.
Hi. So, this story is sort of a Christmassy story. Basically, I wanted to start blogging, and I started to blog like a blog, I guess, that went along with my books, and this is a sort of a subsection of that that takes place of individual characters that sort of relate and evolve and live in my world that I've created because I have no life, and somehow between doing all what I do, I write. So, I will start it out. It's called How Sean Mayer Stole Christmas. It's a play in The Grinch Stole Christmas. You may have heard of it. It's a pretty popular story. Okay. Sean Mayer sat at the unleveled desk in a small, poorly lit dorm room as he stared at the blank Word document on his new MacBook Air. He was tasked with writing an article on the string of thefts that occurred at the elite Winston Carlisle University, which was located 30 minutes outside of Cleveland. The irony was that Sean was writing the story on himself. The MacBook Air he was using was one of the stolen items reported. In a school filled with wealth, it was easy to get away with almost anything. 15 minutes had passed. The first paragraph was written on the time of the incidents, and he left spaces throughout the article for quotes from the director of the school's police department. Sean's phone beeped. On the preview screen, a text from his editor-in-chief, Nicole, scrolled across. Comes with the Carlisle press office. Impromptu meeting. See you soon. Nicole glared up from last week's issue of the Carlisle Press. Her eyes were shielded behind the dark, thick rimmed glasses that hung loosely on her slender face. With a half smile, she said, "Sean, I was hoping you could do something for me." Sean knew the look all too well. It was the look she gave when he would be assigned a story that he did not want to write. "No," Sean said, turning in a swivel chair to face back to his computer as he continued typing. "You don't even know what I'm going to ask," Nicole said. "I could have been offering to give you money to get coffee for the both of us, but now you will never know," she said, the smile on her face growing wider as she waited for him to say yes. As usual, Sean always came through at the end for them, regardless of how much he wanted to stick to his answer of no. "What do you want? What story is so important that you cannot live without it?" Sean asked hastily. "It's a campus story. WCU is hosting the annual Christmas ball at the Art Museum tomorrow night. If you go, you'll have a free ticket and free food. Just go in, take some pictures, ask students and faculty about their semester, and leave. In and out," Nicole said sweetly. "The last time you said in and out, I got stuck as a Kardashian-looking undercover masseuse for the heavyweight wrestling team. There are nights that I'm not sure if I'll ever be fully recovered from the trauma that I suffered," Sean said, his body jolting with chills. He could feel his stomach squirm as the images swept back into his mind. "I would apologize for that," Nicole said, pointing to the picture of Sean, who was wearing the dress and matted wig. "You make one ugly girl," she said, laughing. "But you did get the story on Coach Schaefer giving the team performance-enhancing drugs, which is the one. So this one will be cake for you." "No," Sean said for the second time. "Please, Sean, I promise. This will be the last favor I ask," Nicole said again. "Fine," Sean paused. "I'll do it." With only 1 week left in the semester until Christmas break, Sean worried about the amount of articles he now had to do, along with studying for finals and finishing a group project. This could not have come at a worse time, Sean said to himself, looking at the calendar on his phone. Sighing, he sat down and copied in the remaining portions of the interviews he conducted with the school security officials and police director Bruce Kirkpatrick. With the final touches, Sean was careful to not give away all the details behind the crime. Too much information, and they would know it was him who was stealing. However, when there wasn't enough investigating, then there would be no Mercer Award, which he needed desperately if he wanted a career in writing. Part 2. Black ties, floor-length gowns, and expensive cars lined up in front of the art museum, while valets darted back and forth between the craziness. When Sean arrived in his faded 2005 blue Ford Explorer, he received a disgusted look from a valet and a fellow student. "Sorry," Sean said, posing the word as a question, handing the valet his keys. Inside, several ice sculptures of the school's iconic clock tower, a carving of WCU, and one sculpture of the school's mascot, a wolf, decorated different tables. A firm hand gripped Sean's shoulder. Fortunately, the Canon camera in his hand also hung around his neck, or else it would have fallen to the ground. "Sean, my boy, what's up, man?" Turning, Sean saw it was Madison Fletcher, a member of the Delta fraternity. "Taking pictures and quotes. News story for the week," Sean said. Interestingly, he already knew enough about Madison. In fact, Madison was one of the few who generously left his wallet at the high school state championship rink unattended for Sean to take. "You should be back at school, finishing our project," Madison said with a smug smile. Even though Sean was tall, Madison still towered over him in height and muscle size. "I'm really only planning to be in and out, a few quotes, and then back to finishing up our group project, the one you should be working on too." Madison laughed. "Do some investigating and find my ring man," he said. "You will never get that back," Sean said. Right as a live brass and string orchestra began playing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," drowning his answer out. As the night carried on, Sean continued to snap pictures and popped a few hors d'oeuvres. The flashes from the camera gleamed off the glass cases containing a new jewelry exhibit that had just arrived. He needed one more interview. Anyone, even if that person was Madeline Howell. "Hey, would you be interested?" Before he could finish, Madeline cut him off. "You literally came here looking like that," she said, rolling her eyes and twirling her long blonde hair. "Black tie. I'm not sure why it is so difficult to grasp for someone who decided to wear black skinny jeans and a flannel." "Well, I planned to go for desperate and insecure, but I heard on Twitter that you were already going to wear that." Madeline scoffed and turned on her stiletto heels and fell. To catch herself, she reached and grabbed a server who was holding a tray of vegetable spring rolls, with both of them falling directly to the ground. "I'm going to kill you," Madeline shouted at Sean, who, at the perfect time, snapped a picture of Madeline covered in spicy mustard. "Something tells me this is not the first time you've been covered in sticky sauce." Madeline let out a disgruntled huff. While the focus was to the commotion that occurred, the lights suddenly went out. Some people let out small gasps, while others whispered about a possible light show. But when the lights came back on 5 minutes later, a very different message was announced from security. "Dear ladies and gentlemen, it is with great sorrow that we have to end this evening early due to unforeseen circumstances." The intercom changed to static, then cut out. The ceiling lights came on, and the song Closing Time played through the speakers as event managers and staff shuffled people out through the front doors. Sean stayed behind, while everyone else left. He hid behind the ice sculpture of the mascot until a majority of the group was gone, then crept silently to where men in black suits talked in a loud volume. How are they just gone? The alarm didn't sound and no one noticed. How does someone just walk away with $500,000 worth of gems? The one man said. Sean crept in a smidge closer, still bent down behind a sculpture. He zoomed his camera in and noticed that the case, which had just contained the special exhibit, was now empty. He snapped a few pictures. "You, right there, stop." But Sean's long legs allowed him to outrun the security. The cabinet that had the keys for the valets was unlocked. To his advantage, he grabbed them and continued to stride faster than the rest. Unlocking his Explorer, he sped off towards WCU. He dialed Nicole immediately. "See, in or now," she said when she answered. "More like $500,000 of stolen gems in a room filled with only people from WCU. Hardly going to be an in and out story," Sean said. "Great, 500 words minimum by 3 o'clock tomorrow," Nicole said, hanging up before he could ask for an extension. Once in his dorm, Sean turned on the TV and waited for the breaking news at 10. Finally, a red screen flashed on the TV. Autumn Winfield here, reporting on stolen gems at the art museum. Little is known about what occurred. All we do know now is that it happened during a Christmas party for Winston Carlisle University. If you have any further details, please contact authorities. Behind Autumn was a museum, police tape, and red and blue lights of cop cars. The screen then focused on the sign and jumped to an interview with Ashley Van Hall, a student at WCU. It all happened very fast. Someone fell, the lights went out, and when they came back on, we were all told to leave. I hope they find out who did it soon. Part 3. Within the day, Sean managed to write 648 words on what happened the night before at the event. During the process of writing, he searched through his camera roll. And other than freshmen sneaking drinks from the bar, nothing struck him as devious. After a few final edits, he published the piece on the Carlisle Press website. The article looks great. Our site has been overloaded twice by people reading what it was like for an insider during the ball last night. Hopefully you can continue this and have another piece for me tomorrow, Nicole said on the phone. "I won't look into this more, and I'll only rehash what is written in the media," Sean told Nicole. "I don't have time." Once he hung up, an email arrived on his phone. The sender was from a WCU email address. In the email, it read, "I might be able to help you more with the story. Meet me in the biology department today at 4, room 256 in the East Wing, Dr. J." 5 to 4, and Sean was standing in front of the office of Dr. Jude Martin. Sean knocked and was welcomed in Dr. Jude's office, which was decorated with awards and letters of recognition for his work in bringing the science department to number 2 in the country, placing WCU on the map for yet another program. "I'm so glad you were able to meet with me," Dr. Jude said, sipping from a plain navy blue coffee mug. "I don't drink coffee, I only drink tea." "Of course you do," Sean said under his breath. The room smelled of dust and old books. "Not to sound offensive, but you are much younger than I thought you would be, based on all of your accomplishments." Sean said. "It's the man bun and skinny jeans. It throws people off, but yes, I'm young for what I've done." "What can you tell me about what occurred at the museum that officials do not know at this point?" Sean asked, trying to push the conversation along. He still needed to finish one last paper for the semester, which was due in 2 hours. With a small notepad and Sean's favorite pen, he began listening and jotting down notes that Dr. Jude began to tell him. "I was there, and right before the lights went out, there were several workers who looked suspicious. They were walking around and talking into small earpieces. Then, when most of them disappeared off of the floor, including security, is when Madeline Howe fell and the lights went out. I do believe that the staff is behind the crime, and those are the first people who should be investigated," Dr. Jude said. "I'm sure those will be the first ones interrogated, seeing as they work there. If I could get an interview with them, that would be great. But you aren't giving me something that wouldn't already be reported on," Sean said, annoyed. "Dr. Jude, after looking through the pictures I took of the event, I did not see you there in a single one." "Were you even there?" Sean said, pen firmly pointed into the thin paper of the notepad. "There, I can explain everything that happened, all the way from the decorations on the wall to what the staff was wearing. The staff and security guards are behind it all, trust me. I would suggest talking to several students who were getting drinks from them. Some seemed to be friends with the waiters, who I feel were more questionable. For all we know, the criminal could be walking around campus right now, in front of our eyes," Dr. Jude said. Sean was beginning to see the mad scientist come out to play as Jekyll turned to Hyde, while every word Dr. Jude spoke seemed harsher. "I'm sorry, I appreciate you taking the time with me to talk with me about what you saw. This information is much more than anyone else has given me. Thank you," Sean said, standing up from the chair. However, Sean was not just taking notes of what Dr. Jude said, but his actions too. Sean noticed how Dr. Jude sat on the edge of his chair, his elbows pushed into the top of the leather pad on his desk, almost as if he was protecting something. After clicking the submit button on his final paper for his World Issues class, he turned to one of his closets in a room. Inside, it contained everything he used for disguises to get the story. With black jeans, shoes, a hoodie, and gloves, Sean walked through the unlocked door that led to the underground parking garage of the Donahue Science Building. He took the elevator up to the eerily empty, dark building. Several large screen TVs played a slideshow of students with quotes about the excellence of leadership demonstrated by the Deltas and several athletes. Finally, he reached the east wing of the building. Using one of the keys he copied from a janitor's chain, he unlocked the door to Dr. Jude's office. Inside, the smell of musty books filled his nose again. Using the light of his cell phone, he crept to the other side of the desk and pulled open the different drawers. All of them contained pens, guides on how to groom a handlebar mustache, flash drives, and a stack of opened letters. However, the bottom drawer was locked. Sean tugged on it again, but it did not budge. He had seen these desks before on a field trip to a newspaper. Journalists used them to hide confidential information they did not want anyone seeing. There was always a switch somewhere on it, though, that would make it open. Feeling around the bottom, "Aha," he said. The drawer clicked and it opened perfectly. Inside was a small black velvet pouch that was tied at the top. "What are you hiding, Dr. Jude, you sneaky loaf?" Just then, he heard a commotion from down the hall. Quickly, he opened the bag and took several pictures. Inside were the gems. Dr. Jude was doing exactly what Sean would do: steal from the rich, then blame it on someone else. He did not think it through, though. Once back in his room, Sean read through 2 of the open letters, which were in his desk. Each one started with, "Dr. Jude Martin, it is with deep regret we have found your studies to be inaccurate. Therefore, we must revoke our grants." Jude was not just losing his money, he was losing his reputation too. But what came from the science community, he had to make up with what he stole. With the ring of Sean's phone, a black collar flashed on the screen and he answered it promptly. "Yes," he said sternly. The voice was masked. You might have found my secret, but I'll bury you. Listen, you faux hipster. Get used to not spinning your limited edition vinyl collection because you're going to jail. If I go down, I'm sure the police will love to know you're the one behind all of the thefts on campus. Be a little bit more careful next time, and watch out for webcams, amateur, Jude said. Chills ran up Sean's arm and his throat tightened up. He couldn't say one word. Next, the line went dead. He sat still. As the night turned to morning, his mind empty of ideas to how he could tell anyone what happened. Of course, two can keep a secret if one of them is dead, Sean thought to himself, but would it get to the point of murder? He gulped. A Twitter notification flashed on his screen. It was from the popular YouTube channel's account, Revenge 101. How to get away with almost anything, the tweet said. How fitting, Sean thought. But he had a feeling that YouTuber Skylar Stone was not dealing with what his problems were. Another message popped up on his screen. It was a Google alert he set for the case on the gems to see what information had been found. The reporter was Autumn Winfield. Today, we have sadly found out that there has not been any developments in the case of the gems. All we have is a small report by the Carlisle Press. They said an anonymous source confirmed he saw the staff planning something during the event. Autumn reported, I never wrote that or reported that. How did they even get that out? Sean said out loud. Clicking on the website for the Carlisle Press, he saw that Nicole had written the article. Jude had called her instead. Suddenly, it clicked. Sean found the office number for Autumn and called immediately. This is Brittany. How can I direct your call? I have something to tell Autumn, who really stole the gems. Please tell her to call me as soon as possible. Sean finished the call with a fake name and number to one of his burner phones. Soon he heard a ring. This is Autumn, and you have 1 minute to wow me. Sean explained everything that he knew in a brief summary. Soon, the 1 minute call turned to be an hour of Sean explaining what he had found in the letters, the desk, and how Jude was the thief who was probably working with someone on the inside to get away with it. He was telling the truth about one thing. That was the staff and security. But when I went through the pictures, Jude was not in any of them. Yet, somehow, he knew everything about the event. Thank you for telling me all of this. What was your name again, Autumn said? Nate Klein? He said quickly, as he stared at a picture of Nate on the school brochure. Bye now. We'll do some work on our end and see if this is true. You'll be thanked. 1 day went by. So far, he had not been arrested, which meant Jude had not talked. But sadly, nothing else happened. It was as if everyone dropped the story and moved on to whatever sports team was losing now. Sacrificing the story meant that he would not get the credit for it. It meant that the Mercer Award was as good as gone. But not getting the award was better than being sent to jail. At least he had his own story to create. No more, Nicole. No more. In and out. Honestly, if you ever expect me to believe that lie again, Sean said loudly, standing in Nicole's office, you didn't have to write the story. You chose to go into it more.
Yeah.
I can't even talk to you right
I
now.
know.
Then you published a fake story going behind my back on it. Do you hear that? Nicole said, changing the subject. Sean listened. Sirens? He asked. Police sirens, he said more sternly. They meant one of two things. The cops were there for him or for Jude. Running out on the quad, he nearly slipped on the fresh coat of snow. The clock tower loomed above. As the sirens grew closer, when they reached campus, he heard them rush past from the parking lot. Then they were headed towards Donahue. With a quick sprint, Sean got there to see what the commotion was. Then he witnessed a Channel 9 news truck that Autumn worked at follow in behind. Autumn ran out with a cameraman. Reporting from Winston Carlisle Live, it is with strong evidence that our professor here is the jewel thief in connection with several others. The suspect in question is Dr. Jude Martin, a chemistry professor here at the school. Sean watched in amazement as other students did the same around him. It really is the most wonderful time of the year, isn't it? One student said. As another asked, to no one in particular, does this mean we'll still have to take his exam? Sean returned most of the missing items he had stolen and concluded that within the article that he was writing on the thefts at school to better make sure that he would not be caught. If Jude talked, then it would mean that most people would go in and find that the cops would also be searching his room, and he could not risk that. To further his success with the case, the story was enough to get recruiters interested in him to hire him for an internship.